the Writers Guild of America has announced the nominees for its annual Video Game Writing Award, with the winners to be announced February 17th. Although there are a lot of factors that dictate which games are eligible for guild recognition, events like this offer game developers a way to keep an eye on the games that stand out from the rest of the year's releases. Plus, this is a great opportunity to recognize writers' efforts in the game production process. It's also worth mentioning that there are many hurdles involved with submitting a game to be considered for the award. The nominated games, and their respective writing staffs, for the BAP 2019 Outstanding Achievement in Video Game Writing, are as follows: Assassin's Creed Odyssey, Associate Narrative DILCTORSMATTHEW Zagurak, Jojo Janisse, James Richard Mittag, Narrative Director Melissa MacCoubrey, story by Jonathan Dumont, Melissa MacCoubrey, Hugo Giard, SCRIPTWRITERSMADELAINE Hart, Betty Robertson, Jesse Scoble, Diana Sherman, Kelly Bender, Chia, Arfmann, Zachary M. Parris, Ken Williamson, Daniel Billum, Oda Lemos, Simon McKenzie, Kathleen McMullen, Susan Patrick, Alyssa Ralph, Stephen Rose, team-led writer Sam Gill, writers Jonathan Flieger, Kimberly Ann Sparks, Ubisoft Quebec, Batman, The Enemy Within, Episode 5 Same Stitch, lead writer James Windeler, written by Megan Thornton, Ross Bealey, Lauren Mee, story by Megan Thornton, Michael Kirkbride, Telltale Games, God of War, written by Matt Sophos, Richard Zangrande Gaubert, Corey Barlog, story and narrative design led Matt Sophos, story and narrative DESIGN RICHAD Zangrande Gaubert, narrative designorian Walker, Adam Darling, Sony Interactive Entertainment, Marvel Spider-Man, story Jon Paquette, writers Benjamin Arfmann, Kelsey Beachum, co-written by Christos Gage, additional story contributions by Slott Insomniac Games, Sony Interactive Entertainment, Pillars of Eternity 2nd, Deathfire, narrative designer Scoble, Eric Fenstermaker, Kate Dollar-Hind, Megan Starks, Olivia Veras, Paul Kirsch, additional writing Tony Evans, Josh Maltz, Casey Hollingshead, Nighty Potter, narrative design Liz Carey Patel, Josh Sawyer, Obsidian Entertainment. The pro-union organization Game Workers Unite is currently working with the staff of a dozen different studios, looking to arm those individuals with the tools needed to start the unionization conversation. Polygon reports that Game Workers Unite is actively working with devs from at least 12 established studios in North America to provide the resources and training those teams will need if they want to establish a union and negotiate for terms of employment and compensation. In some cases, Game Workers Unite is working alongside an unnamed existing labor union. The organization co-founder Emma Keenum says that most of those dev teams are relying on resources from Glue alone. It's about learning to have one-on-one meetings with people, learning about the issues that are affecting them in the workplace, and representing how those can be addressed with collective action. Keenum told Polygon how to organize a bargaining committee, and an organizing committee and things like that, but also how to do things safely and securely under the watch of the employer for as long as possible. The topic of labor issues and unionization boiled to a point following several conversations about studio closures, excessive crunch, and sudden layoffs that took place this year, leading to the formation of Game Workers Unite. The organization aims to, as laid out in a blog post about its recent recognition as a union in the United Kingdom, increase the quality of life for game workers by seeking to end institutional practice of excessive and paid overtime, improve diversity and inclusion at all levels, support boost and harassed workers, and secure a steady and living wage for all. The most important thing I wanted to capture with the game was an unsettling feeling of things being off, says Micah McGonigal, developer of edutainment horror mixture, Baldi's Basics in Education and Learning. I did not want to go flat-out horror. I just wanted to create a mishmash of different things that do not quite meld together right, but also do not seem ridiculously over the top and crazy. Baldi's Basics begins innocuously enough, tasking players with finding notebooks and solving trivia questions within a crude, explorable 3D world, as players fill questions and wonder. Though, the sense of unease permeates events and meetings, one created by the visuals being purposely made to look a little bit off, not unlike many past educational games the developer has seen or played. McGonigal draws upon accidentally unsettling visual elements of old educational games to create a disturbing world, embodies basics, and in doing so creates unease from a general sense of something being wrong, and not so much from a frightening creature stalking the player. The game's budding antagonist is far from terrifying, but through the game's visual design, McGonigal harnesses unease to make the player feel dread, even if they cannot pinpoint a reason why they feel that fear. By making things look off, he can create fear before the player even knows what they should be scared of. By moving away from monsters and dark holes, and into places that simply do not feel right, the developer can also open up horror to people who might not find it tolerable, opening the genre up to young audiences. The main inspiration for Baldi's Basics is pretty much Sonic's Schoolhouse. I never played it growing up, but when I first saw it, I was immediately creeped out by it, and that was pretty much where the idea came from, says McGonigal. Baldi's Basics does not immediately strike fear into the player's heart. There's nothing especially frightening about the schoolhouse, or the man who wants to help you with your audition. Similarly, most of the educational games that inspired the game are not exactly terrifying along their own, either, but through small visual elements that conflict with one another, they create a discomfort in the player. The EPONYMOUSHORAO Baldi's Basics. This particular unease was created through McGonigal's experience and research into educational games and the many accidentally frightening elements within them. I do not believe there's any one game that scared me when I was little, but I do know there were plenty of different things in different games that gave me the creeps, says McGonigal. One thing that was common in a lot of edutainment games that always creeped me out was the sort of uncanny CG graphics they would use. It was pretty cheap looking, but NOTTROCHEAP looking. The characters and animated stuff were also often 2D, which made the CG stuff look even more out of place. Mixing two visual styles was one way that some of these past educational games would accidentally create unease, mainly done through these conflicting, inconsistent art styles. By not sticking to any one particular look, it would dredge up this sense that something was wrong, even if it may only be the fact that the art style do not look right together at all. A shot of BAP Interactive's 1996 Bigger Sonic as Schoolhouse. A good example would be Reading Blaster Chamber. Most of the scenery was CG, and I specifically remember this one game where you could collect these toys, and they always gave me the creeps. Hold on, now, I got to go look it up. Oh great, that's gonna haunt my dreams for a bit I think. He continues. Beyond the conflict between the two art styles, there is a crudeness to the visuals of the toys in Reading Blaster Player. In one minigame, there are animals and objects within the scene that are in 3D, with this contrasted against the animated characters, who also appear. The 2D animated characters move and shift their eyes, but the 3D animated ones stand utterly still, eyes moving and then blinking. The juxtaposition of the two styles, however accidental, makes the 3D characters feel unnerving in their stillness. Reading Blaster Player, released in 1995. I also remember one time at the library, there was a redirect game on one of the computers.